Okay, so very quickly, how to draw a nut in SolidWorks. Open SolidWorks. You'll have seen the icon, but it looks like this, 2023. Um, it should look similar to this. If it doesn't, just click File, New, and you want to click on Parts, and then OK. Now, it might take a few moments to load and get to this screen, but that's fine. Once it's loaded, go over to the Sketch tab, and we're going to click Sketch. So all drawings start with a sketch, and we've got to pick one of these three work planes to draw on. I recommend the top plane, so we're going to draw the nut from above, like looking down on the hexagon. So click on top plane. Now you've got a whole bunch of drawing tools up here. One of them is going to be easier than others to draw what's a hexagon, because obviously a nut is a hexagon shape. You see we've got the polygon tool, so go ahead and click that. Now, it's always a good idea to draw your drawings from this thing called the origin. This is like the center of the drawing space, if you like. So I'm just going to click in the middle. You can see the nut sort of being outlined there. I'm just going to draw it slightly wonky and just any odd size and click OK. Right, I'm done with that drawing tool, so I can click tick over here to say I'm done sketching. And we want to put some sizes on the nut. Now, I'm not going to tell you the actual sizes because that's down to you to measure with the calipers, as I showed you in the lesson. But when you know the dimension you require, I'm going to go and get the Smart Dimension tool, which is over here. And I'm going to ask you to measure your nut from the flat to the flat. So with our Smart Dimension tool, we're going to click the flat once, and then the opposite flat. And can you see that's drawn the dimension between the two? So just for the sake of this video, I'm going to make my dimension 20. That's not what it is in real life. Yours will be something different that I want you to measure, so I need to stress that enough. Do not use 20. Go and measure the dimension in real life. It's a skill you're going to have to get used to. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is all nuts have a circle, like a hole through the middle, don't they, where the thread is. So I'm going to go and use the circle tool for this. So click the circle. Again, this is where using this red center to start is handy. I'm going to click in the middle and move out and just click roughly anywhere and draw my circle. I now need to put a dimension on that. So same process, Smart Dimension, click on the circle, move your mouse out and you'll see it's placing a diameter. Now I'm going to choose the number 10. No, I'm not going to do 12, I think. Okay, fine, but you guys will need to measure the diameter of the hole in your nut. Good, right. Little tip now, if you just click tick on dimension over there, if you click and hold the mouse wheel, so you know the wheel, you can normally scroll in and out of it, do it gently, but if you click and hold it, you can orbit your view around in 3D. Just orbit it so you're looking at this from the side. Now, this is still a two-dimensional sketch, and we're about to make it 3D, but I wanted you to adjust your view because otherwise you can't actually see it go into the third dimension. Okay. If you lose everything and you've zoomed out like a complete spoon, one of these up here, zoom to area, or sorry, this one, zoom to fit, there we go, should bring it back into view. You can also hold shift, by the way, sorry, control on the keyboard while clicking the middle button in, and you can pan up, down, left and right. So get used to your view like that. Anyway, just get it so you're looking at it on the wonk, and to make it 3D, well, that's a feature. So we go over to this tab called Features, and we're going to do an extrusion. So extrusion means to pull a 2D shape into the third dimension. So I'm going to click Extruded Boss Base. Now it's intelligent, this software, to a degree, and it will automatically pick the outline that it thinks you want to extrude. And in this case, it's got it right. We want to extrude not the hole in the middle, but the kind of area between the hexagon and the hole. Now, all that's left to do is to choose how much to extrude it by. You are going to obviously measure that thickness in real life, and whatever that is, you're going to type it in here. Just for future reference, you can, if you're just roughing ideas out, you can sort of just drag this arrow, look, and freestyle it. And there are other sorts of options. You can do like mid-plane, see what that does. It does it halfway about the middle, but we're just going to keep it on blind. Go and measure whatever dimension it is. I'm just going to choose 7 out of instance, looks about right, and click the tick. Okay, good. That's a basic model of the nut. Now would be a good point to save it. And for those of you, and obviously for saving it, I want you to get yourself organized. So go and find your OneDrive. Make yourself a folder in there called DET. So you do that by clicking New Folder. So I'm just going to do that as example, DET example, but yours will just be called DET. And in that folder, I'll make a new folder called SolidWorks Projects. And in there, make a new folder called Fidget Spinner. Okay. Now it's very important you start getting your stuff organized, because when you get really into this course, you're going to have lots of different SolidWorks files that all do different jobs, and you want to keep them all organized or it becomes a right nightmare. Just trust me, I've learned that lesson the hard way. Okay, we need to give this file a useful name. I hate it when kids just call it like thingy1, Hoojima This is a nut, okay? Technically it is an M10 nut. So give it its proper nut title, M10 nut. There we go. Save it. That's all saved, and that's useful because it means we can reuse it in other projects in the future. If you want to stick around in this video, I'm going to show you how to make this look even a bit more interesting if you want to make it look really pro. If you look at the nut in real life, you'll see it's got like sort of chamfered edges around the top. We can go and add that in now. If we go up here to feature chamfer, and I'm going to just click on this edge, and you'll see it's made a huge angle on it. Before I go too far, I'm going to change the number to just 1. Okay, it's a much shallower cut, and I'm going to click the remaining edges. Can you see as you click them, it adds them to this list here? So if you accidentally click one you shouldn't, you can just go to the list and delete it off the list. Look, I'm also going to move my view by holding the middle of the button down and then chamfer the bottom of the nut. Again, you can measure the chamfer if you can with the tool, but it might be tricky. I think that is a little bit too much, so I'm going to choose 0.6. So it's a slightly more subtle one. Okay, good. Now our nut has a thread in the middle. I'm going to try and add that in now, and I'm just going to pause it while I remind myself where the tool is. Okay, so the threading tool is under here, Hole Wizard. You click the little drop down arrow and it's thread. Just click if you get that message. I don't know what that means. Just click OK again. Hopefully this will work. If not, IT haven't installed it properly. Right, now technically we are going to be having an M10 thread. The 10 means 10 millimeter, and it should be an M10 by 1, I believe. Let's have a look. Might be 1.5 actually, M10 by 1.5. Choose that, it's important. Make sure it's set to metric, which is like the tens, hundreds, thousands system that we all use. And all you got to do is click where you want the thread. So I'm going to click that circle, give it a second, and you'll see it's tried to sort of approximate the thread. Now, we've got a few other things to specify here. End condition means where do you want it to stop? Well, we don't want it 10 millimeters long. We could pick a number of revolutions. I'm going to pick up to selection and pick the bottom of my nut, and you can see what that's done. Okay. Now you can try clicking tick here. If it says rebuild errors, come down here and try changing it to extrude thread rather than cut, which means add material. There we go. We've made a thread. Okay. Now we've got this annoying problem where this bit sticks out with the end. I believe we can change that. Right click, edit feature. Let's have a look. Let's try trim with start face, trim with end face. There we go, that's got rid of it. Okay, I had to drag down to find that. Let's try that. There we go. One nut. All right, don't worry about that little bit there, which is annoying. Okay, looking even better. The last thing you might want to do is change the material type, and that's easily done. If you go just right click on your object, you'll see you've got this appearances tab. We want to change the appearance of the whole part. You can change the appearance of just the face, like the blue bit that's selected. We want the whole part, so I'm going to tick M10 nuts, give it a second, and over here on the right, this should load. I recommend textures because you get better option. And then if you go to appearances, so choose texture, appearances, we know we're dealing with a metal, we know it's steel, and then you can see the kind of steel effects we get. Now we can make it look even better in a minute. Something like polished steel is pretty close. But when you're happy, just click the tick. Now, if you want to see it look like it would more realistically, if you go to this little drop down and choose Real View Graphics, can you see that's now added in sort of reflections and shadows? So congratulations, you have made a nut. But a very good nut and hopefully accurately. When you think you've done it, let me know and I'll come around and check your dimensions and check it's right, because we're actually going to build your fidget spinner around this nut. All right, save it, and excellent, well done. You can move on to the next task, which probably won't be until next lesson. So don't ask me now what it is, because I haven't figured it out. Unless it's next lesson, in which case I have figured it out.